Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. And today's video, as you can tell from the title, is a first line battle Booker Styley 2025 from the long list, if that makes any sense. So the Booker long list was announced recently, just last week. Myself and my lovely friend Charlie did a reaction to that live, so I will link the live show in the description because that will also have the details of the books. I will also link like some other people that have done like deep dives into the books, or somewhat deep, not deep dives, but like into like other booktubers that have talked about like premises of the book, if you don't want to watch the live show, because obviously the live show is quite a long live show, so I recognise you might not want to do that. So I'll link like Eric's and Simon's and probably Shelley's. I don't know if Scott did one already, I can't remember, but yeah, I will link all of those in the description. So yeah, also thank you so much for everyone that came to the live show last week. We had so much fun, and you know, me and Charlie always enjoy ourselves when we're talking to each other and talking to you guys. Like, it was just the most fun. So yeah, without further ado, I've got the Booker website in front of me, so I'm going to go through on the order that it says, and I will read the first line and then of each book, and then it will be, so the first book is Misinterpretation, and then the second book is Sea Scraper, so it will be like they'll battle each other out, and then whichever one survives then goes on to the next book, blah 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 blah. You've seen these videos before, I don't really need to properly explain it to you, but there you go. So the first book is Misinterpretation by Lydia Jola, I think that's right, Joga. I will read you that first line, which is, so it's, I was 15 minutes late and his phone number was out of service. Which, I mean, that's not like the best first line, but it's not the worst, and it's the first one, so it automatically wins for that reason. Yeah. I was 15 minutes late and his phone number was out of service. What do you think of that first line? Let me know in the comments. Also, I can't remember if I said this, but let me know all your thoughts on stuff and reactions to the long list, because obviously I want to hear that, because that's my favourite thing about obviously BookTube, talking to you guys and stuff. So yeah, so the next book is Sea Scraper by Benjamin Wood, and this is a book that apparently is amazing, has an amazing audiobook for it. I think there's like lyrical like music in there, his own, Benjamin Wood has created, and it's performed by him, I think. So I did download this already, so I am already super excited for this particular book, so, but I will try not to let that bias me. So the first line for this book is, Thomas Flett relies upon the ebb tide for a living, but he knows the end is near. Oh, that does sound better than the 15 minutes late one. Thomas Flett relies upon the ebb tide for a living, but he knows the end is near. Because it gives you a little bit more intrigue, I feel like, than the 15 minutes late one. Or is that just me? I don't know. I'm gonna say that Sea Scraper wins for this, that out of those two lines. So then the next book on that I've got from the website is Flesh by David Zaloy. I think that's how Charlie pronounced it. So then for that, and this is a book that I'm not like honestly not super excited for, even though I know there have been a few people that have put loads of positive reviews out, I think Bob being one of them, so we shall see what I think. I think Eric liked it too. I can't remember actually, did he? I can't remember. Yeah. Either which way. So this first line is, when he's 15, he and his mother move to a new town and he starts at a new school. When he's 15, he and his mother move to a new town and he starts at a new school. Again, similarly to the first line with the misinterpretation, that personally like doesn't grab me hugely, but like obviously I want to know, why did he move to a new town, or why did he move to a new school? But I'm still more interested in Thomas Flett, I think. So at the moment, Sea Scraper still wins. Which one? I wonder which book will actually win, and also whether this will have any whether I will have a similar feeling on the actual books, because I think last time I did this with Charlie, it was with Prophet Song and Bee Sting, and actually I think the Prophet Song, did Prophet Song win? I know obviously it won the actual Booker, but that was one of my favourite first lines, so we shall see if that does have any psychic Charlie-ness. I mean, probably not, obviously, because, you know. Anyway, the next one is, that I'm reading the first line for, is Endling by Maria Riva. This is a book I am actually excited for, and it's one that is on my Charlie picks, that because me and Charlie have divided the long list, in case you didn't see the live show, up into, divided the list in two, and that is all, this one is on my half. We are going to both try and read both, like, all the books, but if we can, I mean, depending, because we do have stuff going on in the real world. So but yeah, this is one on my list, and it is one I probably would have picked to read anyway. In the cities, buildings still stood whole. I feel like that's really a very short line, but it still does, that's actually very impactful. Oh, it's really difficult, because that's such a short first line. It makes me want to go on to the next line, but I'm not, like, on the next sentence. I say first line, but like first sentence. Let's see. In the cities, buildings still stood whole. In the cities, buildings still stood whole, versus Thomas Flett relies upon the ebb tide for a living, but he knows the end is near. I still want Thomas Flett. I'm really sorry, Endling, that Thomas Flett still wins for me. I'm sorry. But that does, like, sound really interesting, and it does make me realise, like, how much I really want to read this book. So especially knowing, obviously, the devastation that is, like, behind, like, obviously the real life devastation that and stuff of this book. So anyway, the next book is on the first line battle is to go against Sea Scraper is The Land in Winter. This is one that I've actually requested from the library, so it's there waiting for me already. And I am excited for it because it did win, did the Walter Scott for fiction this year, I think, historical fiction. Right, here we go. He was lying on a varnished wooden board, the top of a boxed-in radiator. He was lying on a varnished wooden board, the top of a boxed-in radiator. No, I'm still more interested in Thomas Flett. Something still could beat it. I'm genuinely not being biased, but it's just that personally, he was lying on a varnished wooden board, the top of a boxed-in radiator. I mean, it's a nice sentence. I do like the writing style for that. No, I'm going to still say the Thomas Flett wins. Also, because I love nature writing, so I feel like it's going to be a hard one to beat, being honest. So yeah, sorry, Land in Winter. The Thomas Flett, the Sea Scraper still wins. Right, I'm just being honest, because if there was a line that really grabbed me, I would, despite, like, I'm putting aside all what my things are for it. Right, the next one is The Rest of Our Lives by Benjamin Markovits. This is a book that genuinely, I think it's been compared to the Miranda July one, All Fours, which really, really puts me off, but I'm not going to let that affect my first line judgment. But yeah, just know that. Going in, here we go. When our son was 12 years old, my wife had an affair with a guy called Zach Zersky. She knew him, whom she knew from a synagogue. When our son was 12 years old, my wife had an affair with a guy called Zach Zersky, whom she knew from a synagogue. Versus Thomas Flett relies upon the ebb and tide for a living, but he knows the end is near. Like, it's a really, really, again, this is another one that's really, really close, because then I'm like, oh, why did she have the affair? I mean, that's relevant, really. But I am a little bit intrigued to find out the ins and outs of what's going on. It does this, and actually, that's a good first line, because it has made me more interested in this particular book than I would have been otherwise, even though I don't really often like reading about affairs, but, you know, like, you know, I don't know. Something about that does make me interested, but not as much as the Thomas Flett, sorry. Here we go. Then we've got Audition. Audition is one that I'm very scared to read. Luckily it's not on my pile, as it were, but it just seems like a bit too brainiac for me than the level that I'm on. So it's just being completely honest, even though it was one that me and Charlie did actually not predict but put on our wish list. Here we go. So the first line for this by Audition by Katie Kitamura is, it seemed an unlikely choice, this large establishment in the financial district, so that I stood outside and checked the address, the name of the restaurant. I wondered if I had made a mistake. Ooh, that does sound really good actually. It seemed an unlikely choice, this establishment in the financial district, so that I stood outside the checked... I can't even speak the words. So that I stood outside and checked the address, the name of the restaurant. I wondered if I had made a mistake. Seemed an unlikely choice, this establishment in the financial district, so that I stood outside and checked the address, the name of the restaurant. I wondered if I had made a mistake. Right, okay. I actually do think that's a better first line than the Thomas Flett, because there's a lot in that sentence. Although I'm super still interested to read Sea Scraper, I'm going to say that Audition has won that first line, which seems quite unlikely, but it does make, I mean, financial district does like a little bit give me the yawn, but like there's a lot in that sentence that that makes me excited. Yes, okay, I'm going to say that one. So Audition at the moment is in the lead. Then we have The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, which is a book I have luckily received from NetGalley. NetGalley are amazing, and I requested this before it was longlisted, because as soon as I think like I'd heard about it, and then as soon as I heard about this book, I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds such a Charlie book. So yeah, I requested it, and luckily they let me have a e-copy, and I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so excited for it. Hope that way I will that being said, that way I won't let that make me biased. So yes, so we've got the unlikely choice restaurant district, that one, the Audition, versus The Line for the Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny by Kieran Desai. And this first line is, the sun was still submerged in the wintry murk of dawn when Bar, Dadaji and their daughter Mina Foy, wrapping shawls closely around themselves, emerged upon the veranda to sip their tea and decide through vigorous process of elimination their meals for the rest of the day. The sun was still submerged in the wintry murk of dawn when Bar, Dadaji and their daughter Mina Foy, wrapping shawls closely around themselves, emerged upon the veranda to sip their tea and decide, through vigorous process of elimination, their meals for the rest of the day. I mean, it's family, so yeah, that wins. Ding ding ding. Of course that was gonna win. Like, it's family, it's obviously they've got they're drinking tea, which you guys know how much I love tea. I don't know, something about there's a lot of warmth in that scene, even though it says it's set in like this wintry murk of dawn. Them wrapping their shawls around themselves, that just like, and the family aspect of that, yeah, that 100% wins over Audition. So at the moment, Sonia and The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny is in the lead. We shall see. Then the next book after that is Flashlight by Susan Choi. Susan Choi won the Susan Choi won the National Book Award, I think, for I can't remember the name of the novel. Is it Trust Exercise? I think that's right. And so yeah, she won that. So she has got a lot of prestige behind her. I have never read her work, but I'm excited by this book, and the premise of this book, it does sound interesting to me. The first line of this of Flashlight is, Louisa and her father are making their way down the breakwater, each careful step on the heaved granite blocks, one step farther from the shore. Again, it's a father, a daughter and a father. I really like that first line. I feel like that does say quite a lot, like they're down by the beach. I am so excited to read this book. Like that is I feel like that's a good first line. Louisa and her father are making their way down to the breakwater, each careful step on the heaved granite blocks, one step farther from the shore. Yeah, I like that. But not as much as I like the Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, because that's The sun's still submerged in the wintry murk of dawn when Bard, Dadaji and their daughter Mina Foy, wrapping shawls closely around themselves, emerged upon the veranda to sip their tea and decide through the vigorous process of elimination their meals for the rest of the day. So yeah, that one still wins. I feel that's a better first line to me, although both sentences are good. And it has made me really even more excited to read that book again. That's why it's good. It is good to get the samples, because I forgot to mention, I downloaded all of the samples of the books, all of the e-samples of these books onto my devices, so my e-readers, so it just makes it so much like better. It's better to try them all. I'm sure I saw that because the lovely Charlotte Molloy, she used to always do that. So and it does make sense to try the books, especially before you buy them, or even because if you were going to, that's a whole other tangent, but if you were going to request them from the library, that's still £13 a book, like £13 to request potentially, although obviously the libraries are worth that to get the money. But the next book I'm going to be doing the first line battle with is, so against the loneliest of Sonia and Sunny, is One Boat by Jonathan Buckley. This is one I nearly put on my wish list because it was one that I saw on Fitzcarraldo and I thought like maybe it could stand a shot, and clearly it did. The first line is, the first time the intention was simply to find a place that was quiet but not somnolent. So yeah, we shall see. I don't know, that sounds a little bit dull to me. The first time the intention was simply to find a place that was quiet. I don't know what the word somnolent means, but feeling sleepy or drowsy. So the first time the intention was to simply find a place that was quiet but not somnolent. The first line is not for me, so I'm going to say that Sonia and Sunny still wins. We've got 3 more first lines left. So the next one is Universality by Natasha Brown. This is one, for all transparency, that I have actually read and I didn't particularly enjoy as a book, but it's because I loved her first book. It's just this second book just wasn't for me. So yeah, it just is. But I won't let that affect the first line thing, as I said with Audition. So right, I know this is going to be a good first line. I know this is. A gold bar is deceptively heavy. Is the first sentence. It says. Yeah. So I'm only doing first sentences. So a gold bar is deceptively heavy. I mean, that is a good first sentence. I should have said first sentence battle. No, quiet Charlie. A gold bar is deceptively heavy. I mean, it does sound good. And also, I want to say, the premise of this book does sound really, really good. It's just that, I'm not good at this book. Universality is told from multiple perspectives. So I think that is one thing as well that isn't something that always works for me. And in this particular book, obviously, that was the case. Yeah, that first line's good. The first sentence is good, but it doesn't beat the Sonia and Sunny again. So now we're going to head to the South by Tash Orr. Again, this is one that I finished quite recently and I did like it. It wasn't like a favourite, but I listened to the audiobook of it. But yeah, it wasn't like a favourite, but I did still like it. So I'm excited to relive the first line. And the first line is, 2 boys walked through the scant shade of an orchard far from the house where they are staying. That's a good first line. 2 boys walk through the scant shade of an orchard far from the house where they are staying. It's a good beginning to a book. Good first chapter actually. Yeah, which you'll have to read and tell me, or if you've read it, tell me what you think. Yeah, again, Sonia and Sunny is still winning. 2 boys walk through a scant shade of an orchard far from the house where they are staying is good, but it doesn't beat the shawl and the family element for me personally. Then lastly, but not leastly, we have Love Forms by Claire Adam. And this is a book, I think it's a Jamaican author, and there has been some, I know Charlie said that someone he knew read and enjoyed her first book, so I am excited to see what the first line is. Right, it says, "It was my father who made the arrangements. It was my father who made the arrangements." That's first sentence. Doesn't really say a whole lot, but it's not bad. And again, it's family, which is a good thing. And what are they making the arrangements for? Those are questions. Yeah, so that is that. That means that the winner of the first time battle is The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny by Kira and Desai. Hurrah! Will this mean that this is the actual winner of the Booker? I do not know. But yeah, I'm excited to read that book. Let me know, and also it has shown me there are other books that maybe I should, obviously, that I will give a bit more of a try, and I definitely will read all of the samples for these books before then, because me and Charlie always do that before we do the like prediction thing, our Charlie science. So yeah, let me know what your favourites from the list are. Let me know what your favourite first lines are. Let me know which ones you've already read. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a good summer. Yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye, take care, sending you lots of love.
Morning coffee and you.